Okay, welcome everyone to Friday Night Vigil at the Northern Neck Regional Jail. It is day 862, May 19th, 2023. As usual, we'll start out with the little prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the friends who have come here to be with us as we give our hearts and our thoughts and prayers in your name to the men and women who have been through this place, who work in this place. Give them the strength and the ability to be the very best they can when they think about the human lives that are in their charge. And of course, as these men go through sentencing, please give them the strength and courage to get through this tough time in their lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so as usual, we start out with just a reading of the names of the people that we know from January 6th who have been through this facility. And we may have missed a few, but the best records that we have are from the commissary contributions we made. And I'm pretty sure that we've done a pretty decent job there. I've got some other people that have been in here that are checking it, so maybe we will find a name or two that we have missed. And also, what I would like to be able to do going forward is to get their current disposition, where they are, whether they've had their trial and sentencing and so on. Because a lot of people are moving through the system now, and one of the gentlemen that's going to call in tonight is actually in the place where he'll probably. So we're going to just have to follow these guys as they go. So just starting out, Adam Jackson, Albuquerque Head, Andrew Taki, Barry Ramey, Brandon Fellows, Brian Jackson, Chris Quaglin, Daniel Rodriguez, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, I lost the place, Jeffrey Sills, Howard Adams, Howard Richardson, Israel Easterday, James Grant, Jeffrey Brown, Jonathan Manafo, Hosea Kenyon, Justin David Jersey, Cash Kelly, Kyle Young, Lucas Denny, Mahala Pryor, Mark Mazza, Marcus Malley, Mason Corson, Mitchell Gardner, Nicholas Brockhoff, Nicholas Lagerand, Patrick McCoy, Ricky Wilden, Robert Morse, Ronald Sandlin, Ronnie Presley, Ryan Samsel, Samuel Lazar, Tim Boehner, Troy Sargent, William Norwood, William Reed, and Zachary Alam. As I mentioned, these guys are going through their sentencing now, and next week is a pretty big week in D.C. with several on the docket. These things change from time to time. The first one was Robert Morse, who was supposed to have been sentenced somewhere back in April, and so they moved it to this Thursday, May 24th at 10 a.m. That's Robert Morse, also known as Lego Man. Stuart Rhodes, who is the founder of Oath Keepers. That's going to be 5:25. That's Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Same day, Nicholas Brockhoff at 11 a.m. And Kelly Meggs, also of Oath Keepers, is at 1:30 p.m. on Thursday the 25th. And then June 1st, Barry Ramey. Barry's one of our most frequent callers, and has really, I have to thank Barry for really helping to spread the word and get these guys to come and call into us. So Barry's a great leader. Kyle Young is June 7th. Marcus Malley, June 9th. Howard Adams and Mason Corson on the 16th, and Daniel Rodriguez on the...
Hello. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you. Okay. Thanks a lot. All right. Bye.
So Tom, what is the story about how Lego Man got his name?
So Lego Man, Robert Morse, and this is, by the way, a good question. So one of the things I've asked the guys to do is, when they call in tonight, is just give us a little trivia about themselves, about where they grew up, you know, tell a story, whatever, kind of mix it up a little bit. But so hopefully he'll talk about that. But apparently he's a Lego aficionado, and he had an unopened Lego box of the U.S. Capitol in a closet, and they confiscated that and claimed that that was used, or he had it so that he could figure out how to attack the Capitol.
So they raided his house?
Yeah, they raided his. To come through is, they don't just come and knock at the door in the middle of the day or wait till they get home from work or whatever the case may be. They come in full force at 5 o'clock in the morning with, you know, weapons drawn and you know, surrounding the neighborhood and making a huge spectacle of it, the typical FBI approach. Did anybody watch the Jim Jordan hearings the last couple of days where...
We've been watching the Kerry Lake trial going on.
Okay, I haven't watched that, but I just saw this morning there's some awesome whistleblowers that have come forth from the FBI.
I did catch enough to see that.
Yeah, so...
Braveness.
Yeah, and so there's one story, I don't remember his name, I should have been better prepared, but like a lot of these guys, you know, former military, law enforcement, they worked their way up into the FBI, you know, they're nothing but commendations and medals all along, and great performance. And then when they start pushing back, when they're asked to do certain things that the leadership in FBI does, they suddenly find themselves, you know, pushed off into Timbuktu. This one individual, 4 daughters, one was only 2 weeks old. They moved him across the country. The day he showed up for work, again, daughter 2 weeks old, they told him he was being let go for performance reasons. And then they lock up their ability to get a job. In fact, they couldn't even get their belongings. They were locked up for weeks inside of the FBI holding area. So, very powerful testimony. I mean, these guys are highly believable, and you know, I'm really glad for what the Judiciary Committee is doing.
I thought the one guy that was saying, you know, they had asked him, would you advise anybody else to come forward? And he said, no. The government will crush you. That was just amazing what he said. But I'm not stopping, he says.
That's a common theme, I think, for a lot of these people. Like some of the folks that have been through this facility have given us information and said, please use it. I don't care what happens to me. If it helps someone else, use it. So I don't know if Barry Ramey's fiance is watching, but this is the book that he has said over and over again that we need to get. Miranda Devine's Laptop from Hell, and I just got it in the other day. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but anyway, we're listening to you, Barry.
Have you read the Marco Polo report on the Laptop from Hell? It's eye-popping.
So I just want to, I'm not going to just spend all this time up here talking. I think we'll just kind of turn things off for a minute until the guys call in. But there was something I wanted to kind of bring to light here. The Northern Neck Regional Jail Handbook, which, by the way, every prisoner gets one. If you lose it or damage it, it costs you $10. So you're supposed to guard that with your life. Who said that in the different facilities he'd been in, this facility actually has a good handbook, one of the better handbooks he's seen. Other ones were scraps of paper, you know, stapled together, whatever, but this is a nicely bound, official looking, you know, table of contents, very organized in English and Spanish, every section. So I had asked for a copy of it at one of the jail board meetings, and they handed it to me as I was leaving that afternoon, so I thought that was pretty good. And if you read it, just like if you go here and you take a tour and you listen, it all sounds really good, really organized. Basically, hey, this is jail. Don't expect filet mignon. Don't expect to be treated better than anybody else. It's jail. You're in jail. Okay, well, that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. So one of the things I kept hearing about is how little basic necessities individuals are given and have to go to commissary to get the things that they really need. So this section is there's an admissions and booking, there's a release procedures, there's so on, there's personal possessions allowed. So I'll start with that. Band, one each, provided it is a solid band and contains no stones. A religious necklace, and there's specifics around that, can't be longer than 18 inches or a certain diameter. Warrants and papers relating to your arrest. Legal material, these are documents and reference books used by a person in the preparation of his or her case. Medical alert bracelet or necklace. Prescription glasses, contact lenses, hearing aids, and prostheses. A prosthesis shall be inspected by the medical department for security reasons prior to permission being granted. Photographs, not more than 10. No printed pictures or homemade art. Shoes, one pair, the original pair you were booked into jail with. Any new shoes that are needed will be purchased through the commissary. Literature, religious or educational nature, but not more than 3 magazines or paperback books. Of each type to be handled on a case-by-case basis. Their claim for that note is there may be fire hazard or lack of storage space, so they've got to keep a close look on, keep a close on what you're able to keep with you. So these are the things that are issued to a new inmate. An armband. Armbands, in capital letters, must remain on at all times. And they go on in that in various sections here about how important it is that you don't take off your armband. You can get in trouble for that. They give you 2 uniforms, 1 blanket, 2 sheets, 1 pillowcase. Interesting, I don't see pillow, but you get a pillowcase. A washcloth, a laundry bag, 1 mattress, 1 towel, 1 hygiene kit, 1 toilet paper, and 1 inmate handbook. Anyway, it goes on, but I found it quite interesting because everyone's talking about how, I remember a story where someone came back from a disciplinary pod. He got back into his location with the rest of the people, but all his stuff was gone. So, toilet paper, soap, toothpaste, yeah, nothing. He didn't. Everything was gone. And so he had to borrow soap and basic necessities. So he basically said something, some of his soap, and he gave it to him. You know, somebody gave him some shower shoes, so because he didn't have anything and didn't have the ability to purchase through commissary. So, but this was a note I got from one of the guys, because I specifically asked, I said, what is a hygiene kit anyway? What's in a hygiene kit? These are his words. The hygiene kit at Northern Neck was a joke. 1 small bar of soap, 1 small toothbrush, 1 small toothpaste. Once they ran out, that was it. You could not get them to give you any more. One would have to not have any money on their jail books for 2 weeks, and even then I watched them deny most people. It was a joke. No shampoo. The toothbrush was useless after 4 brushes. No envelopes. Any other facility I've been to was nothing like that. So there's a pattern here for sure on all of this in commissary, and that's another thing that I wanted to just touch on. One of the things we were watching last year, the 2022 session of Virginia Senate, there was a Senate Bill 581. It was talked about in here at their board meetings. Senate Bill 581 directs state, now that was last year, so it's not a current bill, but this is what it was about. Directs the State Board of Local and Regional Jails to convene a work group to review and make recommendations regarding the reduction or elimination of costs and fees charged to inmates in local or regional correction facilities, including fees related to the costs of an inmate's keep, work release, or participation in educational or rehabilitative programs, telephone services, commissaries, and electronic visitation system. The bill required the board to report its findings and recommendation to the chairman of the House Committee on Public Safety and the Senate Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Service by December 1st, 2022. So people have been complaining about this issue for a long, long time and understand what a racket this whole prison system is. So what came out of that? I have not yet seen that report and recommendation, but I can tell you that in 2023 session, there's a whole stack of new legislation. And I think John is going to be reporting on that in the Northern Neck Sentinel here shortly, because he's been looking into this as well. Anyway, very interesting stuff you can find out there if you just do a little bit of searching around our own legislative information. The website that I used was from the Virginia General Assembly. Let's see here, the Virginia Law Portal, and it's an LIS, Legislative Automated Systems, but you can look up anything you want. You can look it up by sponsor, you can look it up by date, you can look it up by subject. So pretty interesting stuff. All right, we're gonna just take a break here and wait for some folks to call, and we'll be back on then.
Now that's still running, so if you say anything, make sure it can't be incriminating, right?
So, I just had a thought while you were going through that Senate bill. I pay so much attention to the federal government, the financial institutions, the medical stuff, voter fraud. I haven't been paying attention to the state level government. And apparently I'm missing out on some stuff.
Well, there's, it's like, I know that, for instance, Margaret Ransom was really active on trying to push a few things through regarding voting changes and election changes. And what was happening is things were coming out of the committees, but they would die in the Senate just because of the way the structure of the Senate is. So that's a big push, I think, this year, is to try to make a change there.
Well, we've got one big thing that happened last week. Virginia got out of ERIC.
That's huge. That's huge.
That's beyond huge.
Have you seen any of the what do you call the people that are the naysayers, basically, which I think maybe are bots or whatever, but they're talking about, there was a letter to the editor, actually, is what I see. And they claimed that Eric was there to help keep the voter rolls clean and make sure that people weren't voting in two different states. But so it was a completely different narrative.
Yes. So a little bit of background, early background on Eric. In the earliest days when it first started, it started with seed money from Soros. And then it got sold to states who would sign up, and then they'd have to pay. Turns out here in the state of Virginia, we're paying $4.5 million a year to get reamed, so to speak.
It wasn't that much, because
Yeah.
I thought it was not a lot of money. I thought that was one of
So
the enticing
that was
things.
one of the AG's, or the AG complaints was that, wait a second, we were told it was going to be $20,000 a month, which is no comply. You had other fees, and so those, and it's one of those things where you can't comply.
All right, phone call.
Be charged for this call. This call is from
Robert Morse.
Yay!
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept call, you may begin speaking now.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going? It's your friendly neighborhood Lego man.
Yeah, you getting some good feedback on that. So somebody asked me earlier if you were going to talk about that and how you got that name. I thought maybe we could hear it from you if you have time to tell.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I got about 10 minutes, and before I get into that, I just want to say real quick that it's been an absolute honor knowing you guys and being supported by you guys. I am getting sentenced, according to my mother, who checked a couple hours ago, on the 24th at 10 a.m. So, what are we, like 5 days out from that? I've never been this close before, God forbid it gets pushed an eighth time. But I just wanted to say that the entire time that I have been behind bars, God has supplied me with incredible people like yourselves to support me, to pray for me, to fight the spiritual battle side by side with me. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all your support, your financial support, your emotional support, your spiritual support. Myself and many of the other Jan 6ers could not have done this without you guys. So my heart is filled with gratitude to you all, and I believe you guys, in a huge way, have led the charge for the rest of America to follow. I mean, not only in your conduct, but also for how you compelled the federal government to obey the demands of the Northern Neck Regional Patriots. I mean, you guys are incredible people. So for the rest of my life, I'm going to be telling people about you. My kids are going to know about you guys, just so you're aware.
Well, thank you, Robert, for that. And, you're our inspiration. You guys that have been through here, just hearing your stories is why we're here and why we're doing this and why we're fighting for you. So I couldn't think of anything better to do.
Thank you, sir. All right, well, you guys ready for story time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will shamelessly admit that as an adult, I still love Legos. And I had quite a large amount of Legos at my apartment at the time of my arrest. Now, let me give you some context as to why. One, I'm a teacher, so whether I was going to bring Legos into the classroom to kind of help either some of the kids focus or chill out or explain, a concept or whatever, it's a tool. It's I guess you can consider it a teaching aid. Not only that, but I was excited about carrying on the potential tradition that my dad began when I became old enough to, not eat everything that came across my path. He passed down his Legos to me that he played with when he was a kid. He saved them for me. So like all the old Legos that were coming out, in the 80s and the 90s or whatever, my dad was collecting those things because he thought that one day my son is going to play with these and, kind of make a bond between the two of us. So I was excited about carrying on that tradition, which I'm totally going to do when I have kids, by the way. But then furthermore, like I said in the beginning, there's nothing wrong with having some Legos lying around, you know? They're fun. They're cool little toys. And though they have the age limits on each box, they have Legos for grown-ups. Don't get that confused. But, yeah, so I get arrested. Very coincidentally, on the last day of school, not the second to last day or the third of the last day of school, but I get arrested on the last day of school. I have my Constitution tie on and everything, and luckily the arrest did not take place at the school. I was about to hop into my my Wrangler at the time. I had my jacket on, my slacks on, even had my leather briefcase over my shoulder like Indiana Jones, you know, as he's about to go teach his classes. So I was rocking it, man, and...
This call is from a federal prison.
They enter my apartment after arresting me, quite similar to how I used to conduct operations in Afghanistan. I never thought I'd be on the dumb end of a rifle like that, so it was very bewildering and heartbreaking. But so they're going through the apartment, and from what I've been told, they're going through all my stuff, and in the little storage area that I had, I have a lot of outdoor gear, hunting gear. You know, I'm an outdoorsman, so I fish, I backpack, I hunt, and that's kind of the things that they were sifting through. And once they got to my collection of Legos, they lifted one of the bins up. Not going to say how many bins there were, so I can maintain my maintain my self-respect, right? But no, they lifted one bin up, and then they act as if they found the Holy Grail of January 6th. What they discover is a gift that, at that point in time, an ex-girlfriend of like 7 years ago had given me, but it was none other than a Lego model kit of the United States Capitol. And so from that point, they were like, oh my God, they lost their minds. And granted, this is a story that was told to me retrospectively, or retroactively, I guess. But they call me the architect of January 6th, and they try to make the claim that somehow prior to January 6th, in my little apartment, I planned out all the events with the Lego set, which is a horrendous lie. There's no evidence to back that up. The Lego set isn't even built to scale, and it was such a comical thing that the internet, when they caught wind of this, they wouldn't let it go. But the situation got even worse, because according to the story I've been told, the FBI brought this Lego box in as evidence for their charge that I planned the whole thing. But then the judge looks at the box and says, well, how'd he build it if the box isn't even open? The box wasn't even open. Yeah, man. So I'm sitting here like, and I hear all of this. Like, I had no idea any of this was happening. When I got to the C2B, the legendary cell where they kept all the January 6ers and the DC gulag, I arrived and the door opened up and I got a hero's welcome. Everybody was like, hey, it's the Lego man. Everybody was cheering me on. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, hey, thanks, but like, what? So I'm hearing all this stuff for the first time, and it's pretty wild. I mean, it's a funny story, but it also just goes to show how ridiculous this whole situation was and still is. I mean, they tried to pin a child's toy on me and blow this whole thing out of proportion. But it does stick, though. I mean, every one of my friends that has had children recently, I sent them a box of Legos as a gift. You know, there's nothing wrong with Legos. I think they're actually great for the brain, you know, so without any doubt at all, I am the internet affiliated, also known as Lego Man, and I own it. You know, I think it's cool. I'm not ashamed of it. There's much worse nicknames to be called, and I'm just glad that I can be your friendly neighborhood Lego Man as opposed to something far worse.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that, because I had heard pieces. I want to make sure I got it right, but I had also heard that it was an unopened box, so that just blows my mind.
Right? Isn't this nuts? It gets weirder and weirder, you know? Interestingly enough, I was sent a book by the evangelist named Ray Comfort. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ray Comfort at all. I guess he's from New Zealand. He sent me a signed copy of his book called The Banana Man. And it was the story of how a very degrading nickname that he had received turned into an awesome opportunity to spread the gospel. Well, I had already planned on doing that with the Lego Man. I think this is not only an excellent window to have that household name and to try to explain how ridiculous this situation is. But I also am 100% focused on honoring God with this very bizarre, terrible gift that I've been given. Well, that's exactly what this book by Ray Comfort is about, how to take a negative and turn it into a positive. Luckily, the negative that I've been given isn't that much of a negative, which is all the more reason to turn it into a positive, to spread light on the situation and give glory to God where it's all due. I cannot wait to say this at my sentencing, which is going to happen in 5 days. I'm giving all credit, honor, glory, and praise to our Father in heaven for escorting me throughout this entire situation from the day of my arrest to the very day that I stand before that judge. And though everyone in this room listening to my voice also receives credit, I do believe God moved through you as well. And I would not have made it this far without the spiritual support of all the patriots that can hear my voice.
This call is from a federal prison.
All the time, as he's always there.
Well, that's an awesome plan, man. I really can't wait for that to happen, and I hope that I can be there in person to hear you say those words to the judge. I'm going to do my best.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'd be honored if you could, and if you could bring Sherry Pitts along with you too. I know she's very busy with her chickens. I would love to be able to see the two of you guys in person. If that's okay, I think you guys are incredible people. And maybe, if you can drag a couple others there with you, I'd appreciate it too. But ultimately, I think my mom could use the support more than anybody. I mean, she's been through hell and back because of the situation. So, anything that you guys can do, I'll be grateful for. But you guys have already done so much in my book. And it's looking like I'm running out of time, but I'm grateful for everything you've done. And like I said, I'm going to be telling my kids about you guys, and I hope the country will follow your lead and recognize the type of power they have when they are willing to use their God-given constitutional rights the way that they were always intended to.
You hear, and I tell you what, I tell my kids about you guys all the time, so it's something that this is very support you however we can. We love you and can't wait to see you. And best of luck next week. We're going to be pulling for you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I love you guys too. Everything's going to be okay. We are going to see these days renewed. And like I said, couldn't do it without you. God bless you guys. And I do believe that Andrew Taki is after me, or it's either James Grant, one of the two. But stay tuned.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
Hey, you too. God bless you guys. See ya.
Stay strong.
All right.
That's great. What a story.
Speaking of stories,
And I'm sticking to it.
the budget is nuts.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was in court all day. But the good news is the attempted ruining of December didn't work. My ex-wife, I gave the building where we do delivery.
It's still recording.
It's still recording.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. It's just whatever you say might get out of it.
Anyway, long story short, she was trying to get out of the contract we have that allows me to deliver there, and she didn't succeed. The liberal feminist judge would not go along with it. What's hilarious is her attorney's the one who designed the original agreement. But see, she was living there then, and she just moved and decided she wanted to move. So she said it would interfere with her renting it out, which it hasn't. She's got a bed and breakfast there that does very well, from what I can tell. I'm actually going out of my way not to be intrusive, because even though I could be a jerk like her, I just don't believe in acting that way.
I don't have the mental energy to act that way. A lot of times I feel like I ought to have the energy, but I don't.
But anyway, when I get tomorrow, I'm going to go through that budget, because we need to make an example of Northumberland. The big problem is they're gutless. I don't care who hears this. They're gutless supervisors. And some of them I like personally, by the way.
Yes, I'm with you.
But you just say, we don't really care. This is how much you get. You can always fire that DEI diversity person that makes $130,000 a year, or maybe the cultural voodoo guy that gets the same. They've got 2 or 3 people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Big paychecks. When's the last time you heard about a racial complaint?
Yeah, right.
If there is one, we have these things called police departments and court systems and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. At the last meeting, I was listening to him chime in about, we need safety officers. What happens when
Our
there's
poor
a shooting
children,
in
our
our school?
poor
I'm like,
children.
shoot back?
Yeah. Same thing that happened when I was a kid, except back then they didn't drive the kids crazy. Tell them the world's going to end in 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And that boys or girls, and the depression levels in our youth has just gone through the roof.
Yes.
And the teachers are the biggest single reason. Not necessarily the teachers per se, but the system. I feel
Yes.
sorry for the good teachers.
Yeah. What do they do? Like the J6ers, yes, there's a collection, about 1,000 now, I guess, of guys that have been arrested, guys and gals. But what they've really shown light on here is how this place treats
Right.
pretrial detainees who are innocent by definition. There's a difference. And in writing, you know, our friend in there says that there is no difference.
Well, then I was on the phone with Steve Waterfield on the way up here. That's the the whistleblower that worked here like 98 to 2003.
The guy that wrote that book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said it wasn't as bad then, because Ted Frazier was in charge. But then once, of course, now he left just before Hall took over. Hall was a major, but Steve was the captain, so Hall was a little bit above him. But he basically left because of Hall, but he told me a comical story. He said once,
Do you want to get any of that on record?
I don't care.
I mean,
Well, I'll tell you, I'll wait and do it.
Speaking of getting stuff on record, so I've got that gal's phone number that I told you about, the German lady, survivor of World War II,
right?
who has things to tell people. And I'm going to call her tomorrow. I just got her phone number yesterday. I'm going to call her tomorrow and see what she's interested in. She was very reluctant to speak to the Republican committee because she has been through it. She knows what it means to get your face and your name out there. They are watching.
They said the same
So
thing.
I want to talk to her, but before I invite her to join us in a venue, I want to know from you guys, which venue do you suppose is best? At the lodge or here?
What's she going to try to do?
Well, her topic is what's coming and how they operate, and
About losing the country.
yeah, about losing the
About how it was back in
how
Germany.
the Bolsheviks operate.
But that'd be good in any venue, because that's exactly what's happening.
It is exactly what's happening. She's trying to wake people up, and she's full-blown immigrant. She's got a very strong German accent. She tells stories of how regular Russian people saved her whole family's life, what was left of her whole family. They didn't all make it.
Well, it's the same as the stuff going on here. The thing that's interesting about Waterfield is the same thing that Debbie's son's going through. That was all happening way back then. You know, where they said, oh, you should get mad at
that they're going
them
to
for
come for
turning
your
in
guns at
plaintiffs.
10 a.m. in the morning. No, they'll come at 2 o'clock.
Were you there that day that
From a federal prison. You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
Andrew talking.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept, you may begin speaking now.
Hey, Tom.
Andrew, how are you?
Oh, hanging in there. How are y'all doing out there tonight?
Doing good.
Doing great. We got a nice crowd. It's a nice, cool spring evening, beautiful day, so it's a great time to be here.
Awesome. Well, off the bat, thank y'all for all being out there. Thank y'all for still caring about us and everybody else that's still having to go through everything there in Northern Neck. Hopefully you'll start getting more and more people from inside there that will start giving y'all a call and knowing that y'all are there fighting for them. How many people so far do you have that actually call at this point from there?
Well, it's kind of intermittent. I've got a contact with 2 different folks that don't always, they don't call Friday nights. They just typically call, on occasion. But I don't know if do you have any. I'm looking at John over here. Yeah, he's got a bunch of folks that he knows in here that. No, I'm talking about non-J6ers.
Oh, I've got a couple. Oh, as far as being abused, yeah, I do have some.
We have a few, so I don't know all the names, but anyway, yeah, we've got a few. I just got, well, the one that you forwarded on, I think that's one that we really got to dig into a little bit deeper.
Oh, Panda, yeah. So he's here with us. He is actually supposed to, we've kind of talked him into calling after me. It's mainly going to be in Spanish. It might be just something real quick. I'm just trying to get him to kind of come outside of his normal self here. He doesn't feel as comfortable with the in for a minute and at least say hi. Is that John Haynes there with you?
Yeah, John's here.
Will you be able to forward his emails to John? He might have thought you were a reporter, but the original emails were all written for John, and he's been saving them until we finally got you added on. So the original thing was to try and get John connected with him, and then just there was, I guess, problems with the emails there. John didn't see it, so would you be able to forward those on?
Not a problem. I've got a hard copy right here, so I'll just hand it to him when we get done.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, once we send an email, there's no way for us to go back and actually copy and paste or resend to other people. We get one chance to send it out. So, okay. Cool. Awesome. So, is it monthly or weekly board meetings there y'all do? I forgot.
It's the first Wednesday of the month, so once a month.
Okay. All right, so we'll have another coming up in 2 weeks there. Okay, so nothing new on that front. Yeah, so not really a whole lot here with me. I am kind of low on minutes. Just so everybody knows, going back to court on the 31st, hopefully my attorney will have this endocrinologist or hormone doctor meet with me before then so we can actually have a report written up for a doctor so we can possibly finally get some medical relief or at least have this stuff entered into the record that I have been really screwed around with my medical stuff for every facility that I've been to this whole time, so the judge can, kind of take that into account. Not really a whole lot of new stuff here. Same thing every day, just finding out more and more corruption. Not sure if y'all saw, we only have Fox News here for any kind of slimmer of conservative stuff. So they just covered tonight that there was a case where it came out and the judge has admonished the FBI for illegally spying on Americans 278 plus thousand times using the 702 FISA cutouts and doing it without any reason, even admitting that they were using it to spy on January 6th defendants. So just one more thing showing that what Christopher Wray said after the Durham report came.
This call is from a federal prison.
Saying that when he came in 2018 or whatever it was, that they had already done these rule changes so that the Russia hoax investigation couldn't happen again. But now we just find out again that he once again lied to the American people just time and time again. It's nonstop, and this one directly affects us. Are we ever going to find out the truth if or who was actually spied on ahead of January 6th, and what other ones were actually groomed and talked into doing bad things that day to try and make all of us look bad or to up the ante for the rest of the officers to get them covered to attack the rest of us. This might come out in the next couple decades. It might be a JFK thing, but it's just every week now, something new going on. It's finding out how January 6th was more of a setup, how more people were entrapped into things or had their rights violated. So hopefully some more stuff actually comes out of this and the FBI is just not able to brush it off, but we kind of know how that goes with a lack of an actual DOJ to hold anybody accountable. So.
Well, Matt Gaetz did a great job just in the last couple of days interviewing some of these FBI whistleblowers, and it's abhorrent what they've done to these people to ruin their lives for speaking up and trying to follow the rule of law.
Yeah, and then I forget the guy's name, last name Van Meer, was actually on Sebastian Gorka's show on Thursday after Steve Friend and them were doing the whistleblower hearings. And he said they did not go far enough in actually explaining the scheme that they used to open more cases on us to make the alleged white supremacy extremism more of a thing, and also try and increase their budget. So what they have done is DC field office tells, say, Houston field office, or one of each of their 56 field offices, here's a person, open a case, and we're going to run it from DC, instead of the normal stuff where they would say, hey, here's Andrew Taki, we need you to look into it, and then that field office would then investigate and then see if there was even reason to actually open a case, and they would run that case from that office, but they weren't even allowed. They literally opened the case, and they were essentially just the agent in charge by name only, yet DC was still running it, so that they could show that in all 56 of our territories, we have open cases on alleged known domestic terrorists, of which we were putting this domestic terrorist label on people for doing things that are not even considered domestic terrorism. I can tell you for sure I am one of the many that are labeled as a domestic terrorist. I'm alleged anti-government, I forgot what the other thing was. They put some kind of label on, but I'm a domestic terrorist. I've seen it on the BOP computer here that I'm labeled as a domestic terrorist. They go through our mail harder, they go through our phones, our email, everything is listened to, read, copied, all because the FBI wants to label us as something that we're not. Even the COs here that joke about it with me are like, what are you going to do, steal an extra tray? Oh no, you're such a bad person. But just more and more stuff coming out showing how they've used us to increase budget, to give Democrats talking points. What was it, 2 or 3 days ago, Joe Biden's just saying the scourge of white supremacy is the biggest threat to this nation. Oh, really? Oh, okay, sure. The non-existent white supremacy, or the Lincoln Foundation coming out as this gathering last week in Washington with a bunch of people wearing mismatched khakis and white balaclavas to cover their faces up so nobody can actually look them up and see that, oh wait, these are probably actually Democrats doing all this shit to try and make us look bad. Like, come on. We know your game, but we know it. It's the other side that doesn't know it, because the other side doesn't care to look into things and see what's actually happening. They'll believe their narrative on CNN, on MSNBC, or Yahoo, or wherever they're getting their shit from. They will take it and just run with it and believe it. So,
yeah,
start waking up and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, and I know you're worried about minutes, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I get on a tear there. I'll keep rambling. So, thank you, everybody. We will have Panda hopefully call here in just a minute, and out there. If there's anybody on the live stream, hopefully y'all speak Spanish. But he'll be on here with you in just a minute.
All right, thanks a lot.
Have a good evening.
John, hello, thank you. Tom, thank you. Y'all have a wonderful night.
You too, Andrew.
Federal prison.
Let's keep reminding us. You can see if it's difficult and just kind of translate after the call or something.
You speak Spanish?
As I say, in
I can ask where the bathroom is.
Maybe Ron speaks Spanish. We'll hit him up as soon as he shows up.
Tom, have you heard? I haven't got any details on the Spanish guy. Evidently, he did some really bad stuff to him.
Yeah, that's what
I read it. It was translated by Google fairly accurately. There's a couple words that are a little off, but only because of spelling.
Yeah, I did see something come in the Spanish name.
Hi.
But I was so overwhelmed.
Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak Spanish?
John, I hate your stupid crazy.
At one point in there, he says something about where I'm a reporter and he wants me to, do something about
I
it.
told him that.
Thanks a lot.
At least they're equal opportunity abusers. Doesn't matter what your nationality is.
This is true. So,
We're happy to abuse you. It doesn't matter where you are.
I took Spanish in high school and my early years in college 40 years ago. I lived in California, so that's why I took it.
Well, you can probably translate what he says and read it next week.
Yeah, do you have your phone? Can you do Google Translate on your phone when he speaks?
I've never done that. I think
I just copied and pasted and put it in there, and that's what came up with that. But I don't know. Well, I'm going to order 2 beers, and that's what I can say in Spanish.
Dos cervezas.
But you can translate it for next, read it for next week.
This is about the pig.
I don't know. I didn't know if he's referring to COs or if it's something else. I don't know. It's hard.
It's, you know, some people used to use it because talk about cops.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
All right, call coming in.
You will not be charged for this call. This call is from... This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, you may begin speaking now.
Hola.
Hola.
Is this Panda?
Sí, yes.
Panda.
My English is very bad. I'm sorry, my friend.
Your English. Your Spanish.
Y Panda. Fue muy mala experiencia en Northern Neck a base del servicio médico, ya que pedí una operación de una hernia abdominal por 1 año y 4 meses y nunca se me fue brindada. Tuve que irme por una operación de emergencia y cuando vine de la operación nunca me brindaron mi antibiótico. Tuve que ir a una segunda operación por infección y actualmente me tuvieron que cambiar de cárcel para una tercera operación a base del mal tratamiento del Northern Neck del servicio médico.
No médico?
Something 4 months.
Del servicio médico de Northern Neck.
The medical.
So,
Hello.
Yeah, we're trying to translate.
We're here. We're having a hard time understanding. No comprende.
If the medical area in Northern Neck is trash.
Yes.
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 One year, 4 months is the place, one surgery. No surgery for me.
See.
Me, surgery is emergency. Come back the surgery, Northern Neck, no antibiotic for me. He's in 3 weeks, second surgery for big infection. 2 weeks antibiotic, pero no test. No test after antibiotic si the infection is finished. But there's a surgery is for Northern Neck medical area no good.
I
He
see
said
what I'm
infection
saying.
for
I'm
3
getting it.
weeks.
Why don't you talk to him?
Said infection for 3 weeks.
Now is the 3 surgery.
3 surgeries, okay.
Yeah, now but he's the move the Northern Neck por medical area. Like me West, it is moved now at the Marshals. Northern Neck no medical tratamiento for me.
I think it's no medical care for me.
Yeah,
So-
okay, I think we understand.
No médico para ti?
Yes.
Okay.
Médico, pero he is emergency only. No is normal médico.
No normal
No
medical.
normal medical area.
All right, we understand. Yes, that makes sense. So you have to put in request form, right?
Como 30 request form.
How many?
30.
Como 30.
30. Wow.
The request form me no come back.
30 request form.
He didn't get his.
He is the first surgery. He's come back. He is in the one room in the medical area. No back, no blanket, nothing, no medicine. For 1 day, no blanket. Demolition 3 days, no blanket. It is the all mat broke. In me is 50 point in my belly.
Ah.
So
Move I 3 days. Move a one room until is one room the TV. In one room.
His decision wound. That's what
right. Okay, we understand. No help, no cleaning, right?
No cleaning, me cleaning, con 50 point in my belly.
Wow.
50 stitches.
Now, who removed the stitches? Who took them out? Did you do it? The doc. The stitches, the pointer. Who did that? Who took those out?
Is the point
Yes.
50 point in my belly.
All right.
He big hernia in my stomach.
Right.
So it wasn't a good thing.
Yep. All right. Comprendo.
After me was surgery the shot. He is no close in my belly. It is one hernia in the street. He is surgery the one hernia.
This call is from a federal prison.
And one hernia after. It is the medical area, please. It is tratamiento para one surgery. No touch for me. Yes.
I'm not sure.
1 year, 4 months.
1 year.
Yeah, 1 year, 4 months. He is, surgery for me.
Right.
He is the surgery emergency. Porque the hernia, he is my stomach.
Right.
He is como estrangulando el estómago.
So, ahora, another surgery now for you?
Now it's infection.
Oh.
Maybe the max, the one surgery is infection. Porque after the first surgery in Northern no antibiotic for me, que medical the surgery recetó for me. The medical the surgery it is please 1 week the antibiotic in order never antibiotic.
Okay.
So what I'm getting out of this discussion is that he's you got here.
Well, let me talk to you. So, Panda, John Haynes is here, who's the reporter. Okay, comprende?
Sí.
See, so I will write with you. You and I will correspond on the email, and we will get more of the details. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So again,
Right.
lo siento, mi español es muy mal. Sorry.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Panda. God bless you.
Okay.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So what I got out of that is that he ended up having to do his own post-op care
Yes.
in a bad situation in a dirty room.
Yeah,
Inside here, he ended up getting
and they wouldn't give
infection.
him his meds, and they wouldn't give him anything. They
Right.
You got infection.
So
And-
you understand some Spanish then? Better
A
than
word here and a word there. Yes.
But you know,
that's
I
what
can
I
do
got
better
out of it,
listening
what
to
he
it.
did.
I can't speak it in
He said,
conversation at all.
I understood
Well,
that the hernia strangled his stomach, and that's why it was an emergency.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah. Well, really.
let Debbie read that because
after
I
listening.
don't know much.
No, I'm saying this is an English. It's a Google translation, but if you read that, I'm sorry, can I reach you?
You can get the gist of it, though.
So he ended up with 50 stitches that he ended up having to take care of on his own. And it sounds like he even took some of them out on his own. But
Where,
there's an
did you
infection
hear that just now or not?
Yeah.
They said he got the infection because they wouldn't give him antibiotics.
Right, they wouldn't give him antibiotics, and he had to repeat himself a whole bunch of times. So it's like
And when he came back from the
I've
hospital,
probably
they wouldn't
already
let him
said
have a
just about
blanket.
everything that he
Said
wanted to
that.
say.
Yeah.
No blanket, no clothes. he
Right.
said.
No blanket, just
Yeah.
on a mat, just staying on a mat.
I've got some good anecdotes about Hull that Waterfield gave me, but I'm not sure I should.
Share them yet?
Well, it's all being recorded.
Right, it is being recorded.
Yeah, that would be
No,
bad.
it's nothing that could get anybody in trouble. It just makes Hull look like a buffoon.
He is.
Oh,
Yeah,
lying
but we actually don't want to
lying.
do that on a recording. We won't do
Yeah, it's personal stuff.
that. Yeah.
No, I think it's 100% true.
Oh, sure.
In fact, one very high-ranking person, about as high as you can get, has the Biden family problem of a unacknowledged, real close relative type deal.
I'm tracking. I'm tracking.
But anyway, in a different setting, I'll give everybody all the details. Kind of funny. Another one where he attempted his tough guy act and it blew up in his face because somebody actually called him on it.
Oh.
So I'm going to work with this German gal, and I think it would be better for her if we took her to the regular meeting and give her. It doesn't take her long to go through her spiel, 10
Yeah,
or
she was
15
about
minutes.
10 minutes. But she was saying how, when they come out after your guns, they're not going to come.
They're not going to come knocking on your door. They're going to do the Roger Stone thing.
2 in the morning, and break down the door, because that's what's coming for America.
I just saw something. It might have been on Epoch Times. I don't remember where I heard it, but the reference was to The Good German. It was a paper written.
Yeah.
You seen that?
Yes.
I think it's not a book. It's just a paper.
Yeah, it's not very long, but it's excellent. First they came from so-and-so, but, it wasn't my business, and they came from so-and-so. At the end, they came from me, and there was no one left to help.
Right.
Because you didn't help them, Rachel.
Exactly.
And that's how they do it. And they want to terrify you. They want you to be afraid to speak out. But the key is, if everybody speaks out, you overwhelm the system.
Right.
Yes.
That's what they're doing to us. Overwhelming the system.
But we need to get more people.
Obviously.
Somebody suggested to me that we put up flyers, like in the post office and at the library, for people to come to this. All they need to do, they don't have to say anything.
Might
Bring
actually,
a long chair, sit
it
here.
sounds like it might work.
That's all they have to do is bring a
We
long
want some
chair.
ads. We don't have a regular ad
But
even
I'm
for
not a
the
patriot. I can't. I'm not. I thought it was a good
Run it for free.
suggestion.
I do too, and we were
That
talking
could-
about this. How about a newspaper?
That could work.
But we should have an ongoing ad aside from the defense stories.
Yes, yes,
For the Patriots and for the
yes,
Patriots.
yes.
But just leave it in there
That'd be
permanently.
great.
We can tune it now and
Turn
then.
yourself into the
I mean,
show.
hell, I do it for other people.
Okay.
I've offered before, but we just never see.
Well, you know what I think? I think the organization is spread thin.
Yeah.
We've got a small handful of us that are involved up to
Yeah.
here.
And it was, and some
And
of it
Same
was
problem
over
almost
and
every
over because
organization.
I was trying to
You have one
remember
kind of group kind of doing
the
everything.
bacon
And everybody else is sitting there,
Every
good
good
job,
one.
keep it up. Could you work just a little harder
and that's
though?
why
Because I want to leave
this
early. I've got
complaint
some
with another
fun
complaint.
stuff I want to do.
And my mother said that was wrong with you because
Yes.
it was so overwhelming.
I spent
But
the
I
better
felt
part of
like
my
I
life
was
with that.
cheerleader than
driving
somebody
home,
doing.
you know, how badly they were breaking the Eighth Amendment.
You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
James Tate Grant.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. You may begin speaking now.
Hey, James.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hey Tom, doing good. Thanks for coming out. I don't know if it's the same there, but we got a beautiful twilight hour here, and Yeah, just thanks everyone for coming out. So, really appreciate you guys, and thank you for getting us out of that terrible jail. And I hope you guys enjoyed Panda. He's definitely a character.
He's a character, all right, and my Spanish is abhorrent, but we somehow, I think, between the group of us, figured out what he was trying to get across. So.
Yeah, they wouldn't give him antibiotic ointment on his stomach. I mean, I think he has a really bad wound on his stomach. And it was so swollen at Northern Neck. It was bulging out of his shirt, probably a good 8 to 10 inches out of his shirt. I mean, it was protruding. It was really protruding, and yeah, it looks so much better now. His shirts fit so much better, and you know, he was getting abscesses and things because they just wouldn't give him something as simple as antibiotic ointment. I mean, that place was a nightmare. It's like I told you the other time, Tom. It's such an effort, and even then, it doesn't even work all the time. But it's such a tremendous effort to try to get anything done there. Yeah, so really thankful we're out of there. What I want to talk about real quick is I want to just tell my whole story. I don't think I ever really tell the whole thing. I think I just tell bits and pieces. But, you know, my name is James Grant. I live in North Carolina. I graduated from North Carolina State University with a degree in political science, which, let me tell you, as a conservative, it is really hard to do, and they will dock you grades and all kinds of stuff. But graduated from there. It's about 2018. I finally applied to law schools. You know, it took me about 7 years to graduate undergrad. So I applied to law schools, and while I'm waiting to hear back, there's a rally in D.C. Donald Trump's calling a rally, and I'm a political science major, so I think you can divine my reasons, but I feel a certain way at the time that, you know, people need to show up for January 6th. And so I go to January 6th, and on that day, even leaving January 6th, I don't feel like I really did, you know, I feel like I did everything within the bounds of the law, and the First Amendment will cover me. But, I touch a fence, and, 30, 40 feet over, I don't find out till a year later that 40 feet over, a female officer falls down because she's, I guess, bumped by the fence, which you don't know because we can't see on camera. We can't see anything on camera. So off camera, she falls down, and now I'm being charged with assault with a deadly weapon. And the points levels, apparently my lawyer informs me in July of this past year that I'm facing a plea deal of 7.5 to 9 years. I'm a level 29, which is about 6 levels under life imprisonment. I think if it was 6 levels higher, I could get life in prison for pushing a fence during a political protest. You know, there's about 25 people that push the fence in some capacity, but the government has only charged 5 of us. One of my co-defendants, Ryan Thamsel, is an absolute maniac. He talks out during court. He speaks out during court. He says some crazy stuff at all times. He's crazy. He's pretty nuts. And I'm lumped in with him, so I'm going to look crazy by association. The government will not let me sever from him, so I'm forced to go to trial.
This call is from a federal prison.
I'm forced to go to trial with a guy who, get this, the guy sent lollipops shaped like, I'll just say genitals, to the FBI, and he's telling us about this. And this is who I have to go to trial with. I've never met the guy before. I don't know him from Adam. And I've got to go to trial with this guy facing 7.5 to 9 years for pushing a fence. And then, literally 20 yards to the right, a female cop fell down. And, pardon me. I'm on the phone, though. Stop. Sorry, everyone. We got a clown in here named Brandon Fellows, and he wants to dance when people are on the phone as I'm trying to talk about something. But can you please leave the room, Brandon, for real? Anyways, so yeah, it's a pretty nightmare situation. About a month after January 6th, I get a call from the University of Alabama offering me nearly a full ride scholarship, what I've been working for my whole life. And it actually wasn't until about 8 months after that I get arrested by the FBI. And so I've got a whole bunch of conflicting feelings. You know, I don't know what I would have done had I not. Well, I'll keep going. After I get arrested in October, they tell me to turn in all my firearms or put them in a storage unit or give them to someone else. So I get a storage unit. I leave them in there for about 3 months. But I don't have a lot of money, folks. I am not a wealthy person. And the $80 a month for the storage unit, I was kind of tired of paying that. So I go one night and I get my firearm out of the storage unit, and I'm going to sell it. I'm going to go sell it at Cabela's. I drive to Cabela's, and I don't know, I just get this feeling in my stomach that something is not sitting right. So I don't want to get out and sell it, because at this time I'm not supposed to have the firearm on me. I'm supposed to have it, but I feel like, you know, allowances are made for your firearm while you're transporting it or trying to get rid of it, as I was doing, because I mean, I can't own it, and I'm facing a couple felonies, so I can't own the firearm, so I kind of want to sell it anyways. But as I get to Cabela's, which is like a 35-minute drive, I just get this feeling like I'm going to get swarmed. I mean, I didn't mentally deal well with, being on the FBI's radar and having federal felonies against me pending. So I can't bring myself to get out of the car because I feel I'm a little paranoid, and I feel like I'm going to get swarmed. So I don't sell it at that point. And then later on, about 8 cops pull into a Denny's, and they ask me what's going on. Long story short, I was on a little bit of too much of medication, and I get a DWI, and they put me on the cover of Newsweek Christmas Day. And it's a whole debacle, and the article is getting things wrong. I did take too much of my medication. They say in the article I'm drunk driving. They say he's got an AR-15 with multiple magazines. I had 2 magazines on me. I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot, and I did not handle my situation well. But I just want to clear the air, is that there were so many lies told about me in that article, and then the judge denies me. They revoke my bond, and they quote. The judge says, he was instructed not to drink at all. I wasn't drinking at all. I blew a 0.0. So that article is absolutely, I think the article is going to affect my case negatively. Now, I'm an idiot. I did something really stupid, and I didn't handle the situation well. But now I'm suffering from that article, and I don't know what to do about that. I kind of want to sue them to take it down or something. Helping me a little bit and trying to be a liaison, because I got to get that taken down. I don't know if they're going to offer me any plea deals, but since then I spent a horrible 13 months in Northern Neck Regional Jail that I think genuinely took years off my life, and now I'm in Lewisburg. It's a little better, but I had so much going for me beforehand, and my life was finally coming together, and now I'm sitting in federal prison. I'm going on my 17th month, and I got to go to trial with a maniac and a couple other co-defendants, 4 other ones I've never met, people who conducted the same conduct as me, apparently just aren't charged for it at all. I'm hearing that the guy right to my left, shoulder to shoulder with me, I don't know if this is true, but I'm hearing he got let off with misdemeanors. So I'm facing six levels under life in prison, and other people that did the same behavior might be let off with misdemeanors. And I don't know if the federal government just doesn't like me in particular, but I mean, this has spiraled so fast into a nightmare that Tom, I touched a fence 40 feet down, a woman falls down, she's claiming she has a concussion, so that's going to be a whole argument, and oh my gosh, so what a lot of people would get in this situation on their first federal charge with no criminal history would be a year in prison, and then they would go home. They might even plead it down to a misdemeanor. And this is what a lot of our lawyers told us, was expected to do a year, and you might go home with a misdemeanor. Now they're giving people, now people are getting 4 to 7 years, 5 to 70 months for what happened and what transpired during a political protest. And I'm not perfect, obviously, as you could tell from my story. I'm a bit of an idiot sometimes, and I didn't react well to the whole situation. And my dream that I worked for my entire 20s, as I just turned 30 in federal prison, I'm about to turn 31 in federal custody. And, I just didn't deal with it well, but man, my life has spiraled out of control after January 6th so quickly, and I just don't feel like it's at all a proper reaction. Obviously, I feel like I don't know. I don't know what else they want from me. I lost a career. I've been nationally slandered. I've been in federal custody for a year and a half, coming up on 17 months. And, all because I touched the fence, 2 years ago. I was 28 when I touched the fence. I'm about to be turning 31.
So let me just tell you something. I think that what I'm hearing from you, you've got a very compelling story to tell, and you're right. You made some mistakes. You made some mistakes, but we all make mistakes, you know. And the truth is coming out. It's going to come out in different places from different cases all around. But I'd say just continue to tell your story. You know, take responsibility for when you did screw up. And I think this is all going to get exposed, my friend.
I hope so, Tom. I mean, it was a good week regarding the FBI. I think we saw a lot of good stuff come out. That they had agents. They didn't want the 41,000 hours, which I don't have access to at this point, and I really need access to, because at one point I'm stopping people from breaking windows at the Capitol, and you know I would definitely like that to be that to be shown. I think this is a really good week for the FBI, and you know, not for them, but you know, I do hope more stuff comes out. Undercover agents, you know, Antifa provocateurs. And I do think more time, I think as time passes, things are going to get better for us. So, thank you for that.
I think, yeah, keep your hopes up, because I think the tide is turning. I mean, I watched some of what Matt Gaetz, those interviews he did, and those guys, the FBI guys, had their lives ruined because they stood up for truth and justice. And you know, so it's impacting a lot of people. But someone said it earlier. We just need to get more people talking about it. And overwhelm them. And if we do that, I think then people are going to have to look at your case and and people won't stand for that.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think the number one thing, and I've said this before, but the number one thing we all need to do, and it's out there somewhere, is get that Roseanne Boylan footage out where she is beaten to death. And I just... That footage is the number one thing that will destroy the entire narrative they've tried to build against us on January 6th. Is showing a woman who's lying down, already unconscious, get beaten. I think they honored the cop that beat her. And I was a little, you know, I wish Trump would have brought that up during his town hall, because I think that would have been a great opportunity. But I think, you know, Ashley Babbitt's murder was terrible. And, you know, they honored the cop who did that too. But I think it's crazy. But... You know, those two, if we can just get that, and I think that's the second piece to it, is the Roseanne Boylan footage. So listen, anyone listening, if you guys can, that's the number one thing you could do for us. And I know as soon as that gets released, that is going to spread like wildfire. And so we just got to work on getting that Roseanne Boylan footage out. And I've heard from guys I know for a fact that footage is in the 41,000 hours, because the guys at DC that have access to what they call the Global Discovery Project, which is, you know, the compilation of all the video evidence. But I've talked to guys, and that's where they found it, and they said it is gruesome. But I could just see it now. I could see it going viral on Twitter right now with the, you know, graphic warning going on Truth Social. I can see it now, and I know it'll spread like wildfire, and it'll destroy their narrative. So, you know, I just implore anyone listening, if you know anyone that has, you know, I don't want to say too much, but just please, if we get that Roseanne Boylan footage out, I think now is the time. Strike while the iron's hot, and that, you know, the fact that footage has been buried, I think speaks volumes about the entire, you know, the motivations and the narrative and everything. You know, I really think that footage would be a huge blow, and I was hoping we could get that out.
Yeah, so there's some folks here that are going to work on that, and I have to ask you this: do you know Tommy Tatum? Have you spoken to him yet?
No. Pleasure.
So, Tommy Tatum is one of the guys who's been doing these vigils since August 1st in D.C., good friends with Mickey and the rest down there. And Tommy tells a very heartfelt story. He laid on the pile. He was trapped underneath the pile 8 feet away from Roseanne and watched that happen. So it's not just the video. There's people that were with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that footage has got to get out, and I think now's the best time for it. But it's about to cut me off, so I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I do think things are changing, Tom, and it's thanks to people like you. We just got to get more information out, and as more stuff comes out, it's just going to keep getting better. So thank you. I appreciate everyone.
Yeah, thank you, and keep your chin up, and things will turn, I promise you. There will be a better day for you and everyone.
There was a black eye that came out right after June 6th. Anderson was his name. A light-skinned black guy. He was holding her hand when she died. And he reported on it, so this is nothing new. And I have seen videos of it. I don't know if it's the same.
I've seen the whole thing. It's like 10 or 15 minutes long.
Right.
And there's this big woman there. There's a black cop that's beating a little female black
alive.
cop and
Okay,
beating the
careful.
daylights out of her.
Well, the one I saw, she was already on the ground and they were beating her. And there was a guy trying to push him back, and then they started beating him. But what I saw was only like 30 seconds. So you must have seen the whole thing.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. At first she's trying to make her way through the tunnel. She gets out, and then they shove her.
Right.
She went down, and then this female cop just wails on her for like 8 or 9 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Kept hitting her repeatedly in the head. And you can see the blood coming out of her nose.
Oh yeah.
She's probably after it then. But what happened when they were pushing these people out, they were just standing still. They weren't advancing. There were stairs behind them. They fell down the stairs, then they kept pushing people down the stairs on top of them. And there was a stack this high of people. And they were trying to pull them out, and it was horrible.
Yeah,
She
so
might have
anyway,
been dead when
what
they
I
were
believe
And there's a video out there of DC police that
is
were
that
called to
his
the
brain
scene.
was so bad
And
that
you can hear them, they're
medical
complaining, saying, holy
sent
crap,
him
we've been set up.
which that's America.
We're not ready for
They
this.
don't send you to the hospital.
Yeah,
like
I heard that.
You know.
They got a new one
And so
now
they sent him to
too.
the hospital.
Where
He's in
some of the
the
guys,
hospital.
cops up high shooting down.
So he
They're
comes
like,
back
shoot the
here,
bastards.
and they
And,
tell
we
him
need
they
more
don't have the
musicians.
supply.
Let's kill some of them. I mean, really heavy duty
Yeah,
stuff.
covers him. So basically, it's tough shit.
Oh, the one guy
And,
said,
this is
cops
what
said,
I'm
why
understanding.
are you shooting them? They're innocent.
And
Because they were all just standing there and they started
it
shooting.
healed in such
And then one guy
bad
after a couple
state
minutes
that
said,
his
you're just
intestines
getting them more stirred up. And, you know, you make it, and they were. And some people started getting mad.
Well, it didn't get
When they started, firing on them.
The thing that
okay.
they say there was 2 million people there.
But they refused to give him
I don't know, I wasn't there, but it was a fairly sizable crowd. It was a big enough crowd that even unarmed, if they had intended to do evil and bad things, they would have done evil and bad things.
This is what I think.
Yeah.
And the cops, nobody there could have
And
stopped
so,
it.
Even the liberals admit
I think
$1 million,
he's going to go for
which
his third surgery.
I'm sure it was at least, I didn't make the 2 million, but
That's what I
unfortunately, it's almost impossible. Because there's a lot of wooded areas and buildings and all that.
A lot of salt coming in.
Yeah.
You would think it would be, but it is.
You probably wouldn't have needed just put
Right.
Anyway, it was a record regardless. It was well over $1 million.
Oh yeah.
And the percentage that we can
You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
Jeffrey Sills.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, press 5. You may begin speaking now.
Hey Jeff, how are you?
Hi.
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
We're doing all right. We don't have the pleasure of your mom being out here with us. She had to work, but she said you'd be fine.
I know. She's on a field trip. But, yeah, thank you guys for still supporting us. It's so awesome that you're still out there. Has anybody else called in tonight?
Yeah, let's see. We've had, first of all, we had
Robert Morse.
we had
Taki.
Taki, and then we had Panda. I don't know if you remember that fella, Ray. And then we just got done talking to James Grant.
Okay, very cool. Well, I got your number now, so I didn't have it previously, but I can call in the future probably around this time, because I'm at Loretto now. I just got here 2 weeks ago today, actually, and so I've been settling in here. Things are different here, but it's nice. You can go outside pretty much all day between 7 o'clock in the morning to about 8 o'clock at night. So I like to go out there after dinner in the evenings. They've got a library here, which I love. It's stocked full of books. yesterday I went there and wrote down like a list of like 40 different books that I want to read that I'm interested in. They actually have an art studio here. I went in there for the first time today, and they've got painting, there's drawing, there's ceramics, and there's a leather working class. I'm thinking about signing up for the leather working class. Some of the guys here are so talented. I was talking to some of them that don't have any formal education or backing with, doing this art stuff, and I went to art school for college, the Savannah College of Art and Design, so I've been around a lot of art, and I'll tell you what, some of these guys here are really talented. So people are making wallets out of leather, they're making handbags and like backpacks, and they look awesome. So I was really impressed, and I think I'm going to sign up for that, but since I've been here, I really haven't been bored at all. We've got 5 other... It is great, especially from... It's such a night and day from being at Northern Neck. We can order books here, and I spend my days either sleeping, reading, or working out. So being able to order books has been a huge blessing. We've got 5 other J6ers that are here. I hadn't met any of them before being here. Most of them have shorter sentences between, I think one has like 9 months, one has 6 months, and a couple of them only have like 30 days, which is kind of sad and ridiculous that they're having to go through all of this just for 30 days, But
yeah, is that a federal facility? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is that a federal facility or not?
Yes, it's federal. Yeah, so it's part of the BOP. After everybody's sentenced, they're going to be sent to a BOP if they have any time left. So I'm hoping that some of my buddies end up here that are from this area. I've got my buddy Patrick. He's from Connecticut. Rob is from Pennsylvania. There's what's his name? I'm having a blank at the moment, but I know there's some other guys from like Albany, New York. Brandon Fellows, he's from New York. So hopefully some more people show up. But it's been all right so far.
When we were just talking to James, Brandon was in the background causing a ruckus. He had to tell him to leave the room. Can you believe it?
Oh man! Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess are they all still at Lewisburg?
Well, there's several that have been shipped out, I know, so I'm not exactly sure who's still, but everybody else that I mentioned are, yes, still at Lewisburg.
Okay. Yeah, I miss Lewisburg. Just having all the guys around and being able to go out to the yard pretty much by ourselves. And Lewisburg was cool, but it's the same here, if not better, because we do have access to the library and we can be out at the yard all day instead of just an hour at Lewisburg, but I do miss my buddies.
That's huge. Do you guys communicate with, is it Core Links that you use there?
Correct, that is correct, yes.
Go ahead.
The system that you guys are using to communicate, to message with the guys at Lewisburg, it's the same system used here. So all of your contacts transfer over. Once you're in the BOP system, all your stuff stays there. I think your money typically stays there from facility to facility. Same with all your contacts. So it's not like switching around from the county jail to DC to once you're in the feds, your stuff it's much easier to transfer.
All right, good. So I definitely want to get contacted and connected with you on that so we can chat back and forth.
Absolutely. Another thing, maybe a tidbit of info you can pass along to other people is that my property from Lewisburg transferred over here absolutely no problem. So my property actually, like when I was at Lewisburg for 2.5 months, I purchased tennis shoes. I got, soap and even some snacks, and I had a couple books and things I collected while I was there. All of that stuff was packed up, and it was actually here at Loretto before I got here. So it was all here waiting for me, and it was a perfect, easy transition. So
This call is from a federal prison.
things are pretty laid back here, so I hear it's an easy spot to do your time. So it could be a lot worse. It's not bad here at all. I haven't had any complaint.
Well, I know it's about as far as for your mom to drive, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm glad the way you describe it. It sounds like it's got a lot of improvements. Can you, at some point, let me know who those others are there with you, and we can do that on the email thing. But I just would like to know and track those guys too.
Sure, I'll do that on the email for you. What I'll do, I don't have a pin on me at the moment, but I think I can get your email maybe from my mother, and I'll add you into the system. So what'll happen is I guess you'll get a invite to your email inbox or something, and you would just approve that, and we can communicate.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'll text her later and give it to her.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So who all is out there?
Well, we've got John Haynes and several members of the Patriots. We've got a mother of a inmate that was here that was not a J6er, who's become pretty steady member out here too, because she's fighting for her son's rights, and that's what we are also doing as well, is using your stories of what you guys went through to kind of highlight the problems in the system here, and there's a lot.
It's not just us, it's everybody that I feel bad for the guys left behind in Northern Neck, But I would like to give a special shout out to John Haynes, because I saw his interview that he did on Cowboy Logic, and he read a bit of the letter that I submitted to him regarding the MRSA situation I had, and thank you so much, John, for doing that. Unfortunately, I only saw the first segment of your interview because we got locked in our cells, and I didn't get internet reception on the tablet in the cell to be able to watch the second part. But I saw the part where you mentioned me and read the letter, and I was very honored that you did that, and you did a great job. I didn't realize how popular Cowboy Logic was. So
John says it's because he was on it, so he wants to say something to you real quick.
Hey, how you doing? Good. I just wanted to let you know, you and your four-legged buddy, your pictures in the Current Sentinel, and we mentioned you once again. So,
oh, wow.
So I think your mom might have gotten it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I'll have to ask her about that, because this is the first I've heard about this. Awesome.
Yeah, it's you and your dog sitting in front of a body of water. It looks like a...
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably up in Bar Harbor, Maine. If I could, I was fortunate before I was arrested, the month before, my mother and I went up to, and the dog, went up to Acadia National Park in Maine, and I'm so glad that we were able to get that in before all of this happened. So, when times get tough, I think about those memories and what an awesome vacation that was, and how I was able to bond with my mom and stuff before all of this came down. So, thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
I'm really glad you got to see your mom lately. I saw the picture of you two together. She's a wonderful woman.
Yes, she is. I hear her constantly brought up from J6ers that how much they love her. So I can't thank her enough.
All right, well, I'm going to give it back to Tom. God bless.
All right, thank you.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. All right. So anything else you want to share? You have to watch your minutes too, don't you?
I'm good on the minutes at the moment. My time just rolled over, so I'll try to finish this out. We've probably got 3 or 4 minutes left. I will tell you that since being here, like I said, I went to the library, made a big list of books. I'm trying to use this experience as like a college experience, just to learn as much as I can and to prepare myself for when I get out. And I've been really focused on business lately, and what I want to do when I get out is buy houses and property and flip them, but also I want to sell houses and possibly rent them out like investment properties. I've got a friend that is looking to hire me whenever I get out, so I can't wait to get out. But in the meantime, the library here has books on real estate and investing and stocks and property management, and right now I'm reading a biography on Warren Buffett that is really, really fun to read. So I've been learning a lot. I've been learning from the people I'm around in here, and all in all, I think God put me here for a reason. So it's like getting refined to the fire sort of thing. I wouldn't, if this didn't happen, I wouldn't have thought about changing my career path, or it's made me really analyze where I was at and where I'm going. So yeah, I'm doing really good here. Do you guys have any questions for me or anything before I hang up?
Well, first of all, I'm really glad you're doing well there. And I thought you had a skill already. Aren't you a 3D modeler or AutoCAD operator?
Yeah. That is correct. So I worked as a architectural visualization artist primarily, but I also made simulators for the defense contractor. I don't think I'm going to be able to work for the defense contractor again since I have a felony, not at least until I'm pardoned, but
this call is from a federal prison.
But the architecture thing is going to fit right hand in glove with what I plan on doing. So I'm going to still do that stuff when I get out, but I'm going to expand my horizons and look into further endeavors as well. So I'm excited.
That's cool. I mean, I think that's going to be a really powerful tool to be able to not just sketch something, but to really give visualization. Here's what it's going to look like when you're done. That's why you need to hire me, right?
Yeah. I've decided I'm going to try to. Well, I'm not going to try it. Eventually, I am going to build and design and build my own house. So I'm eventually going to work up to that. Probably not until I'm married. That way we can design it together. But I'm going to work towards that, and it'll be cool.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I'm excited. All right. Anything else?
No, but thank you so much for calling, and I'm glad you did. And
okay. Very much.
Right.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye.
Bye.
I forgot to tell you guys, I sent Don Newland, he's the host of Cowboy Logic, I sent him the tape of English lying about, I don't even know if I told you. Yeah. Okay, that's English.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Laughing and, oh no, he's on, whatever.
That's English.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we got him dead to rights, he's the one lying. And he's the one that just got him beat up. I just talked to the lobby in Samsel again, and he went into great detail. A few little things I didn't even know.
So I didn't know that Samsung had enough balls to send some to the FBI.
Oh, he's crazy. I mean, I like him. I think he's hilarious. And he's very brave. But wow.
Okay.
He's defiant. Like the first time he called me was the night they looked at his phone book, and he was talking real fast and real quiet. I'm like, Ryan, what's wrong? Somebody's spying on you? No, I was only supposed to do one call. I've already done it, so I gotta hurry. Once they catch me, they're gonna make me. Well, the next day I see Gateway Pundit that they'd interviewed him. He hung up with them and called me real quick before the CO noticed. I mean, he really is a character. He told me that after they had to go to court, they had the film, and I don't care if people hear it because I'm going to write about it. They had a film of the actual room he was in, when they came to get him, because that's got a bunch of cameras. And they showed him getting roughed up a little there. They didn't have all the film of where they took him later without a camera. But anyway, this came up in court. And English had to admit it, but this wasn't the real bad stuff. They slammed him on the floor and threw him into whatever, but they weren't punching him in that part. So anyway, they get back to the facility, and English comes up to him and goes, look, Ryan, I'll give you your own private room. You can have your own private phone. I'll give you thousands of dollars in your commissary. Whatever you want, you got it. Just don't talk. And Ryan basically said, F you. That's Ryan. And then said Hull came up a couple days later and said, what happened to you? Like, he didn't know. So he said, you know what happened to me? You ordered it. And he said, Hull started laughing and says, what are you going to do, sue me? He goes, no, I'm going to tell everybody on earth about it, which you did. He said, Hull told him, he says, that would be the biggest mistake you ever made. Mr. Tough Guy.
Are you going to go to the tape?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he does.
That's what I was telling you. Remember the time I kept forgetting to try to listen to the actual tape because I had the written transcript? That written showed that they lied. It said he's fine, but it didn't say who was talking. And that says not only is he fine, but he's okay. And he's laughing about it, real jovial, like, I forget the name, Melissa. Oh, hi, Miss Melissa, how you doing today? And just all, and she asked about him, and he goes, oh no, he's fine. Oh no, I'll take it back. At first he tried to fake it. Samsel, or let me check, make sure we have an inmate by that name. Waits a few seconds. Oh yeah. I'm thinking, this guy just beat up. So, and then she goes, well, his wife called him crying. And the sad part is afterwards you really call the wife back, and it's almost heartbreaking because you can,
Right.
the voice is breaking.
Oh, yes.
What a bunch of animals.
It's disgusting. So, by the way, I think that video of Roseanne Boylan is the best one. Is likely to be on the Epic Times.
Yeah, I can't remember where I saw it, but it was a few months ago. It wasn't just...
Yeah, it was like 3, maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah.
That I saw it, and it was pretty long and extended. The one that I saw.
Yeah, because early on they tried to say she was suffocated, but it wasn't intentional.
And the one that I saw was actually being shown as a backdrop. It was the only thing on the screen, but there were people talking, describing what was going on. People that were there,
right,
describing what was going on. That might be the Epic Times.
Yeah, they got all this new tape of the cops up high shooting down. Yeah. You're amazing.
I don't know how they do it, and still manage to keep doing it.
I'm just happy they gave me free publication rights. Because I don't know what they would charge. They normally charge, but same with American Greatness.
Yeah,
that's a couple of good ones. Because Julie Kelly writes American Greatness.
Ah, okay.
In fact,
the only time I ever see her stuff is on Substack.
Well, that's her main, where she originates, is American Greatness. And she's amazing.
What was the date of that? Was it October 12th, 2021?
I believe so.
October 12th, 2021. That was the day that Ryan Samso got his ass beaten. Sorry about that, folks.
Okay. There was some conversation here around the alleged beating of Ryan Samso here on October 12th, 2021, and a phone call that came in. So I want to play that.
Hang on. I might be able to hook you up.
Sounds like we're in the ghetto. They missed it.
Yeah. They missed it.
Try to call safely. We have to wait long.
Sorry, I can't see.
Richmond County Sheriff's Office, Michelle. Hi, this is Dispatcher Overholt, Virginia State Police Division 2. I had a caller from out of state call me and advising that Her name is Rachel Genko.
Spell that last name?
I just kind of spelled it out. I don't know if it's right or not, but it's Juliet Echo November, Charlie Hotel Oscar.
Okay.
Her phone number is 267-383-5774.
Okay.
Her husband's name is Ryan Samsel, Sansel. Date of birth is 1983-0903.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you for calling.
Northern Neck Regional Jail.
Yes, this is Michelle at the Sheriff's Office of Richland County.
What can I do for you, Miss Michelle?
Hello, we got an inmate by the name of Ryan Sam.
How do you spell the last name?
Samseo.
Ryan Samsel? Yes, we do have him.
Alright, his girlfriend, wife, is called state police and stating that he's injured and needs a rescue squad. I'm just, before I call her back, I want to make contact with you all and make sure that he's okay. So I can tell her that.
He is fine, but you guys do not need to send a rescue squad for him.
And that's what I told state police, and that's what I want to tell her.
Okay, yeah, that's not necessary.
Yeah, I know we don't send them unless y'all ask.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for calling, though.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Did you say yes, send them, or don't send them?
Don't.
Don't.
They got an all-duty CO coming, so they do no record.
Hello? Yes, is this Rachel?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. My name's Michelle with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. You spoke with the state police?
Yes.
All right. And in reference to your boyfriend and husband, Ryan Samsel?
Yes.
All right. I spoke with the jail. He is okay. He is fine. We cannot send a rescue squad by you requesting. The jail has to request a rescue for us to send a rescue squad to their facility. But he is okay.
Yeah, because earlier I'm in panic mode because he did not sound okay. He was crying on the phone, and he just didn't sound himself like. And I just don't know what's going on. So it's, it's kind of out of my hands, and I don't have control over it.
Okay, like I said,
To make sure he was okay.
yes, any jails or prisons, they have to request for a rescue squad. We can't just send one.
Yeah, and I tried to call up to the jail to find out what was going on, and nobody's answered.
Okay. Well, he's fine. That's all I can tell you. That's what I've been told.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, I'm glad that they told you that. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, bye.
It's interesting. It sounds like he doesn't know who he is, but he instantly knows he's okay.
That was kind of heartbreaking listening to her take that call.
Yeah, they snuck in a CO off duty to come in because anytime you're on duty and you leave, you have to log in and log out. There's a record of it. And somebody did it for you. I think it might have been Tom. And it came back blank, so I knew something was fishy.
Yeah.
And that's what Samson told me this. A CO was called in off duty, so there'd be no record. The CO drove him over. It sounds like in his personal video.
What is the reason why they refuse to let EMS in?
Because they didn't want them to see this guy beaten half to death.
But for other things too, there's
So,
time after
there's-
time.
Because they're
People
ambulance.
need an
So-
ambulance, and they won't let them.
You got to remember that the jail still has to have positive control over all of the inhabitants. And if the inhabitants are allowed to call ambulances at will, then there's nothing but chaos.
But there are many times that people need an ambulance.
I understand it, but you've got opposing forces happening in that, because I guarantee you, if you told every single one of those inmates that they could call an ambulance if they needed one, every single one of them would be doing it.
But like a guy I know, he had a heart. He was in here, got out several months back, had a heart attack, laid on the floor for 6.5 hours. A guard literally walked and stepped over him and kept on walking. And he's laying on the floor crying and begging for help.
Right.
And do they call an ambulance? Of course they don't.
No. And that's where the problem lives.
Yeah.
Good
All
seeing you
right.
all again.
Thanks for coming.
See ya.
See ya.
We will see how that turns out.
You're not gonna wait for the pledge?
Are we?
Well, you shut it off. Still have that to do.
I don't even know if the thing would run, because it's only got so much battery. It's an experiment. I'm just seeing how it works.
She got the money back. But, look over your
Yeah, I will.
bill, because.
I know. I saw.
And she says she absolutely knows it was her. So,
I'll keep an eye on
yeah,
it.
so you might want to.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
You wanna do the
Dan,
pledge
you all
early?
right?
I don't even know if we are.
How long is it going to be?
Oh, maybe. No, you can't do it. Not 9.
That's the problem with these. The court system is not backed up.
They're not backed up. When I'm there, they have like 3 cases. The judge is just sitting there on his ass for that hour and 20. No, they're not. They're not. No, they're just sitting there.
Well, it's
they're sitting there chatting and getting coffee. And, you know, when they're supposed to be hearing cases, that's what they're doing.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, his health is so bad now. And he's done. He's done. It's the board's fault.
Right.
I think every board member is guilty. They're guilty of abuse. They're guilty of their assisted murder. They're guilty. I mean, they're murderers. They are murderers. Well, Ted Hull was a problem. And I told him that at a meeting one time, and they yelled at me and told me I was expelled from the meeting. That one time, that nobody else came. I said, "Are you taking on the camera?"
Recording.
Oh, no.
So we got. Finish it up. What time is it?
What's your name?
You got 6 minutes? How long is that? It's pretty long, isn't it?
No, it's 2 minutes.
Oh, it's 2? Okay. All right.
Well, I'm so old I live in the bathroom.
All right, we'll see you.
Good night.
I think it was good. We had a few good conversations.
I was glad to understand Panda a little bit. It wasn't great. I can hear it and understand it, but I can't speak it back.
Well, it's good to talk to him now because now he has a connection, and I've corresponded with him just twice to get that letter that I had. You know, that was his information he sent. So maybe we can get a little bit better detail now. Help him out.
I get infuriated listening to stories of how a guy's going to do time because he put his hands on a bicycle rack. That's what it was.
Yeah, I was going to clarify that, but
really? There were 15 people on that same bicycle rack.
Right. And most of them were feds.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So that's why they didn't show the tape.
all right. So the plan here is to sing the lyrics and then pause and let the big guy talk.
Yeah.
The real big guy.
Well, he does a pledge, and this is going to be Justice for All, but with the J6ers singing the national anthem and President Trump doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to try to see how that works out.
All right, so we don't need this. You're just going to do it all
Yeah,
through
you
your
want
little
to try
box.
it now? You ready?
Whenever you're ready. I think it's close. I mean, we're almost to 9. We're not going to get any more calls. Yeah.
All right, here we go again. Try it again. Trump knows.
Darling, isn't that it?
How do you play it? How can you stop playing?
You're killing me.
Little bit delay. I don't know why I had it before and it doesn't really work now. Let's see if we can play it.
What the hell happened? It's been taken down.
Can't find it?
No, it's right here. Right here. It's just the play button isn't there. It's gone.
Well, otherwise, we'll just go to the regular pledge. Perfect.
You can just sing.
Wait a second. I might be able to help you.
The one guy that drove out way early on.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's this.
Oh,
He waved at us.
good to see you.
Okay, guys, it's 9 o'clock. We're singing somewhere.
That's, well, I think part of your problem is
Okay. His broad stripes and bright stars lead the path.
And to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where was that done? Who was doing the singing?
J6ers.
in DC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's an audio tape that's been
Yeah.
spliced and stuff.
Yeah, it was number one on
It was
YouTube.